If you don't build your own dream, someone will hire you to build theirs. We are taught that labor is glorious. And yes, I agree. The word labor in isolation is a noble one. You labor to create value, to sustain yourself, and to help others. But here's the problem. If labor exists only for the sake of glory, then perhaps it's not worth doing at all. Labor should liberate. Liberate in two directions, freeing up the time of others and freeing up your own. If labor fails to do both, then it is not liberation, it is bondage. If your labor frees neither your time nor anyone else's, it isn't labor, it's idleness disguised as work. If your labor frees others but not you, congratulations. You've become a wage slave, like ants toiling away so their bosses can cruise in Rolls Royces while you barely make rent. This is the fate of the majority. If your labor frees only yourself but not others, say, buying a washing machine to reclaim your hours, that's at least a step in the right direction. You've purchased time, but if your labor frees both you and others, that's the sweet spot. You are paid, you are liberated, and you are on the right track. Labor should orbit around freedom. Anything less is not glory, it's a trap with a shiny label. Perhaps someone told you, sacrifice yourself for others. That's noble. No, that is manipulation dressed as virtue. A scam designed to convince you to sell your soul cheaply. Your parents didn't bring you into this world so you could become a martyr for corporations, institutions, or some faceless greater good. They wanted you to live free and happy. Only when you first liberate yourself can you liberate society effectively, productively, and meaningfully. Bill Gates built Microsoft. Windows and Office liberated the time of millions of businesses and individuals. Productivity skyrocketed. As a result, Gates became one of the richest men alive, collecting unimaginable amounts of freedom units, also known as money. Even Microsoft's engineers, though still ants working for the giant, benefited. Their skills placed them in a privileged position, higher pay, equity, and the ability to carve out their own opportunities, even if on someone else's farm. But Microsoft, Apple, Google, Facebook, these are exceptions, not the rule. Most of us don't work there. You can't compare a regular company paying employees $36,000 to $60,000 a year with a big tech giant paying $240,000 a year, plus stock, prestige, connections, and an army of benefits. Both are called jobs. Yet the gap between the two is the difference between barely surviving and comfortably buying property or launching your own venture. And here's the kicker, even those making $240,000 eventually wake up, realize they're still just well-fed ants, and leave the colony. They start building something of their own, cultivating their own land, creating products and systems they control, instead of enriching Microsoft forever. When I was a student, I worked as a waiter at a packed restaurant. My first real job. I was thrilled. I believed labor was glorious. 8 hours a day. Weekends included, no holidays. My reward, a grand total of $300 a week. Exhausting, but I smiled through it. Labor is glorious. My coworkers didn't share my optimism. They worked because they had to, not because they loved it. Their market value was too low. They struggled to make ends meet. And yet, like me, they repeated the mantra, labor is glorious, just to survive another week. They were trapped. Some might escape to a slightly better farm later, but most never will. Sadly, most follow the herd. Their only visible solution? More school, another degree. So after leaving the $300 restaurant farm, they move into the grand farms of Wells Fargo or Keller Williams. They feel proud, even euphoric for a while. Then one day, they realize a quarter of their youth is gone and they are still plowing someone else's field. Yes, they earn more, but the money flows right back into consumerism and corporate profits. White-collar employees with fancy degrees, not much different. Supply and demand dictates that most will remain cogs in the machine, overworked and underfreed. The turning point comes when you refuse to identify with the laboring class. Not when you work harder, not when you work longer, not when you try your best. The only way out is to exit the working class and join the ownership class. Labor is meant to liberate labor. Most people, the working class, will stay trapped until the end of their lives, living paycheck to paycheck, just enough to consume, never enough to break free, trading freedom, passion, health, and life itself for survival. To escape, you must reject the role society has scripted for you. Not play it better, not play it longer, but walk away entirely. That is the true meaning of labor is glorious. Not toil, not sacrifice, not slavery, but liberation for yourself and for others.